Welcome to the Pins and Friends podcast. We're all about the downtown Bristol experience. Bowling, events, tasty food, and unforgettable fun. Join Chip Zimmerman, owner of Pins and Friends, as he brings the energy and stories that light up our community. Let the good times roll.
Duckpin Bowling, small balls, smaller pins, and a whole lot of fun. Chip Zimmerman, owner of Pins and Friends, explains how this quirky version of bowling is taking the alley by storm and what makes it so different from regular bowling. Welcome back, everybody. Skip Monty here, co-host / producer, back in the studio with Chip Zimmerman. Chip, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, Skip?
I'm doing just fine, So, Chip, what is duckpin bowling and how is it different from regular bowling?
Well, of course, duckpin bowling, it's right in the name. It is a type of bowling. So there's kind of three main families of bowling. You got your regular 10-pin. There's a bowling called candlestick bowling, and then duckpin, and they're all a variation of the same theme. With duckpin bowling, it's about as old as any other bowling game as you can think of. As long as man has been throwing things at sticks, duckpin bowling has been around. So in this particular case, it does have a smaller ball. Typically 10-pin bowling, you'll have balls that range from 6 to 15 pounds. These are all about 3 pounds. So if you ever played Italian yard bowling, bocce, it's just about the same size as those bocce balls. So
is that about the size of a softball, maybe?
Yeah, about the size of a softball. Sure enough. That's okay. About right. A little heavier than a softball, but about the same size. So, small children and our more veteran friends do not have a problem managing these balls as far as rolling them down the alleyway. But the way that we have our duckpin bowling set up, it scores just like 10-pin. Traditional duckpin bowling, because the pins are smaller, but they're spaced the same as 10-pin, it's a little bit harder to score. So in regular duckpin bowling, you would have had 3 rolls per frame as opposed to 2 on a normal 10-pin. But what we've done is we've made our ducks rubber ducks. So we've added a rubber band around the duck pins to make the spacing the same as 10-pin. And so the scoring is exactly like 10-pin bowling. So you get 2 rolls per frame, and it scores just like, you get a spare plus the next ball or a strike plus the next 2 balls type of scoring. So you can get a 300. We've never had a 300-point game. I don't expect to ever get a 300-point game because it is a hard of a game. And it kind of levels the playing field for all our friends. So it's a good game. The other thing about the way that we have it set up is you don't have to rent bowling shoes. So, that's nice. A big part of that culture, a big part of the whole bowling experience, of course, is navigating through getting your shoes and putting them on. And, of course, the owners have to then disinfect them with a nice spray and then store them. So we're avoiding a lot of that, sometimes bad experiences that you have with bowling alleys. So if you want to come in with flip-flops or 6-inch spiked heels, you can roll away with our duckpin bowling in downtown. So yeah, it's as fun. It scores the same as 10-pin. It's easier in that physically. And then, of course, again, you can just walk right off the street and start rolling. So those are the big advantages that are duckpin bowling. But that type of bowling is growing in the United States. It was really popular in the mid-Atlantic states, along the eastern seaboard, even up to Connecticut. I've had people come in from Maine, and they remember playing it as a child. But it was really big in the Maryland area, Baltimore area. And we get a lot of visitors that come in. It's a little bit of a nostalgic, but they do have a good time. But it's kind of reinvented for our generation of shorter attention span. So 2 rolls instead of 3 and stuff like that. But it's a fun game. I think it's a better product. I grew up playing 10-pin. My grandmother, we'd go down. She lived in Knoxville, and we would roll on the Saturday mornings with the hard plastic seats and score manually on the pads with the pencils with no erasers. And it's evolving to more of a social event with softer chairs. So we have nice upholstered couches that you can relax while you're waiting for your turn instead of hard pre-molded chair that you would see in some older bowling alleys. So you're seeing it change. The industry's changing, and it's becoming more accessible to everyone of all kinds of physical abilities.
Awesome. So rubber duck pins.
Yeah, so
Rubber duck pin bowling.
yeah, I mean the normal duck pin is a smaller diameter pin than a regular 10 pin, and we've added a rubber band that thickens it gives it a dad body by putting nice love handles right there on the wide spot. So
Gotcha.
It gets the waist about the same size as a 10 pin waist. So the spacing becomes the exact same. So the score's the same.
Cool. Well, now you touched on this a little bit, but do you know what the history is behind duck pin bowling and how it evolved?
What is it's if you look it up right now, it'll say the history's is kind of in dispute. But like I say, what I've read and what I've been told by the people in that industry is, in the Baltimore area is pretty much where it originated, where the duck pin nomenclature came out. There was a couple of people playing it, and they rolled the ball, and they said those pins flew away like a flock of ducks, and so duck pin was born. At least the name duck pin was born from these reporters that were reporting on the game that was appearing on the boardwalks and other arcades at the time, at the turn of the century. Not this century, but 20th century.
Right, gotcha.
We're talking 120 years ago type era.
Would you consider duck pin bowling more challenging than standard bowling?
Yeah, you'll see a lot of people that are frustrated because they'll get 130. They'll score 130, and that's actually a pretty good score. It's not a real good score when they go to regular pole. They might be a 270, 280 bowler, but it's a little bit harder to put action on the ball because it's a smaller ball. You can't quite put the big 3-foot hook on it to bring it in at an angle. So it's a little bit harder. You have to be a little bit more consistent. I think our house record is 212. We had a high school student. She came in and she got on a 6-strike streak, and she was able to get 212, and that's been the house record ever since. We've had a couple people get close, but 12 is about as high as I've seen it. So it's a little bit more challenging, but if you're coming in there to try to get a perfect game, you're going to be frustrated. If you're coming in there to beat your boyfriend or your grandson, you're going to be playing on a level field. Anybody of any skill level can compete with this particular bowling. So it makes it kind of fun. You see a lot of families. You see a lot of wives take revenge on their husbands that may have taken them on pin bowling in before, and they just continue to play because they can't win. They can't lose that game. They got to play another game. So it's kind of fun to watch when you see that kind of action.
Awesome. Well, it's been a while. I used to play duck pin bowling a long time ago in North Carolina, and I look forward to coming to see your shop as well.
Yeah, great.
So, all right. Well, Chip, I know you're a busy guy, so we'll let you get back to your bowling alley, but you're the man. Appreciate what you're doing, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
All
Hope
right.
you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Skip.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for being part of the Pins and Friends family. For more fun, check out pinsandfriends.com or visit us at 700 State Street, Bristol, Tennessee. Let the good times roll. See you next time.